We start with the huge transfer news across Europe. Juventus and Barcelona confirming the swap deal is done. Miralem Pjanic heading to Barcelona. Arthur heading to Turin. 72 million euros plus 10 million. Apparently what Barcelona will get, all that includes Pjanic being valuated at 60 million euros. We welcome in Sid Lowe, Julien, Laurent for more. Sid, what do we make of this move? 82 million euros for a guy that Barcelona seems not to need. Sounds like pretty good business.
On the face of it, it sounds like good business, but it's not really. What this is about basically about fixing up a financial problem that Barcelona have, and a financial problem that they have right now. They needed to raise around about 67 million euros before the end of the financial year, which of course is on June the 30th. That is why this deal has happened, because actually the amount of money changing hands is not very much, but you can put all of the earnings that you get, or the supposed earnings that you get from selling Arthur into the budget now. The amount that it costs you to get Pjanic, you can then spread over the next 4 years. In other words, you can post a big profit, and you can do it by the end of the month. And what that enables Barcelona to do is to protect its directors from the personal liability for not meeting their budgetary targets for this year. This is a deal, make no mistake about it, that's being driven by the finances, not by the football.
Jules, you can understand why Barcelona fans would be upset then. Decisions made over money and not football. Will Pjanic's arrival soften that blow at all, do you think?
I can completely understand why they would be upset. And when you lose a 24-year-old who looked very promising when he arrived first, and you swap him with a 30-year-old who clearly looks more towards the end of his career than to the beginning, you're right to be upset. You get Pjanic, who is a good football player and has a lot of experience, has won many trophies, but who plays in the exact same position as Sergio Busquets, for example. And you could even argue that the young best position is almost in this sort of similar, again, profile and similar position on the pitch even. So why getting Pjanic? It doesn't make any sense football-wise, like Sid has very well explained just now. It just makes sense for them in terms of numbers.
All right, let's turn our attention to the La Liga title race, which has been turned on its head really in the last week. Real Madrid now 2 points clear of Barcelona with 6 matches to go after Madrid won on the weekend. Barcelona dropping points. Sid, I'll start with you. Luis Suarez with the comments about Quique Setien, an ESPN report now saying that Setien and his relationship with the players is strained. And then the video that we saw from the game over the weekend, Messi effectively ignoring Setien and his number 2. That's a lot of smoke if there isn't fire.
It is a lot of smoke, and actually it's been partly confirmed by Setien today in his press conference. Now, obviously, he doesn't go so far as to say, yes, there's a problem in the dressing room, which, of course, no manager would ever say. But he does admit in his press conference today that this is a dressing room that is different to anything that he's been used to in the past. He says, these are different challenges, and I'm learning. In other words, I've not had to deal with players of this magnitude before, of this personality before. He also said, and I think this is a very telling remark, that for the sake of all of us, we have to learn to come together. This has to be a team. And of course, you only say that when there is a sense that it's not at the moment.
Jules, specifically the comments from Luis Suarez, I wonder what you make of them. He really specifically points out the manager. Is it a fair criticism?
Yes, and he's not the first one. We remember Messi back in March, I think it was, when he said, if we keep playing like this, we're not going to go anywhere. And now Suarez saying there's a problem. Well, as the manager, he's the one who should sort the problems out, especially away from home. I mean, Setien, the problems were there before Setien arrived. You know, Setien has arrived as he quite maybe naively said, this is all new to him. And when he was appointed, one of the question marks that we all had was how will he deal with this dressing room, because he's never known anything like this. At Betis, they were completely different players than the one he has now. Now we are superstars, and you've got Messi and Pique and Suarez who pretty much run the club anyway. So, and Busquets. So it was always going to be a hard task, I think, for him and for Edu Sarabia, his assistant, as we saw that quite humiliating video really, and the way Messi completely ignores Sarabia in that cooling breaks at the weekend. So it's just not looking well. And on top of that, when you see how not well they've been playing, and when Messi is not at his best, how much they're struggling and conceding goals. And again, against Celta Vigo, they could easily have lost that game. And now they've got Atletico coming next. And this is a hell of a game when pretty much in the next 4-5 days, they could lose it all in La Liga.
Sid, any chance they could sack Setien? Champions League still out there?
Well, on the face of it, I would have said no. I would have said there's no point in doing that. But you're right, the Champions League being out there, I suppose, poses a question about whether there's something to be done in the short term. And look, we partly see this with the Arta and the Pjanic deal, that from this board of directors, you cannot rule anything out, particularly if they believe that it's something that provides them with the opportunity to survive. And so if they were put in a position where they thought they had to, for their own sake, as much as for the team's sake, then it could happen. But I must say right now, I think Setien sees the season out and I think doesn't start the new one.
Jules, I don't remember anybody being louder about getting Ernesto Valverde out of town when that occurred than you on this very show. You have any regrets now? They were first in the league then. They are not anymore.
No, at all. And we've seen at times some improvement on the Setien as well. It's just think it's hard when you've got the injuries that is hard, for example, of the players missing, that is hard, even if Suarez came back from his injury, and it's part of this end of the season when he shouldn't have been really, if the pandemic hadn't happened. But I think it would have been hard for anyone. I just think Valverde had lost too much credit towards the players, with the fans as well, with the media too. I think it was the right call to sack him. Bringing Setien, I don't think was the first choice. As we all know, Xavi was the first one. They even went all the way to Qatar to try to convince him to come at the turn of the year. That didn't happen. So then Setien was maybe not even the second choice, because Ronald Koeman probably was the second choice. So, it was not really the guy they wanted in the first place to replace Valverde. But listen, there's 6 games to go. There's the Champions League. It's still not completely over. But certainly they will have to play far much better and be far more united than we've seen in the last 2 games.
Sid, if Barcelona had a bad weekend, Antoine Griezmann had a worse weekend. He's getting criticized for ducking out of the free kick. That's the eventual equalizer against Celta Vigo. What's been the reaction in the Catalan press?
Yeah, the reaction has been critical, but I think in terms of focusing it purely on what he did in the free kick, I think is incredibly harsh. He jumps and he turns his body. That is true. It's also true he does that having had if you like, the instruction from the players, right, no one moves. No one gets out of the way here. We stand firm and we stand tall and we stand straight. But that's a really minor part of Antoine Griezmann's responsibilities at Barcelona. I think there are far, far bigger questions at play than whether or not he slightly turned his body during that free kick. He shouldn't have done. No, that's true. But it's not the end for him. I think that the situation for him is much more serious than that in truth. It's about whether there's a place in the team, about whether you can construct a team in which he works. And of course he will be thinking that he hopes there's a very significant change in the summer, and that whoever comes in as manager is a manager who's absolutely committed to getting the best out of him. Because of course in the right structure we know that he's a very good footballer indeed.
Jules, things going from bad to worse. You think this was the straw that broke the camel's back for Griezmann and Barcelona?
I don't know. I feel for him, as I've said many times on the show, and I'm keen to defend him because one, he's played out of position, and if you play Griezmann wide, you can't expect him to have the same performances that he had at Atletico with France, where he played as a second striker, for example. That's the first point. The second point is, okay, on the wall, should have done better or not turn his back, but then let's not forget that when Nolito has that huge miss at the end, the one who's been running all the way from the opposition box to actually sort of disturb Nolito in a way, I guess, is Griezmann, who is in his own 6-yard box when Nolito hit the ball at Ter Stegen. So, yeah, of course, he could have always done more. He could do better. But again, I think there's a lot of circumstances that make you understand a bit more why things haven't really worked out for him so far. And yeah, we can all say that it was the wrong move for him and the wrong move for Barcelona, but it's a bit too late now to say that. I think they should all find a way of making it work for him, for the team, for the fans, for the club, also for someone like Messi and Suarez, who don't seem that keen on playing with him, but who surely knows that if Griezmann performs well, he's in the benefit of everybody at the club.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN+.